apart. Conquer fears, won't let them reside. Heartbeats pound as we take the dive. Living now feels so alive. Heart steel veins glowing bright. Fitness gone in the dead of night. Fading game, we got the sight. Crushing finance, career out of sight. Man up now, we own it true. Breaking change, just me and you. Success stories everywhere. Living life beyond compare.
He did it again. He did it again. Will Smith, he did it again. I thought it was the absolute bottom of the bottom when he went ahead and lost his temper and slapped, well, I guess you could say bitch slapped, Chris Rock right across his face at the Oscars. And I thought that was his lowest moment. And like, oh my God, I love Will Smith. And I always have. I love the work he puts out. I think he's a beautiful creative. He's a brilliant mind, great guy. I, Robot is one of my favorite movies of all time. And if you're interested in the future of AI and what's going to happen, watch I, Robot if you never have. But he did it again. Will Smith, who, if you guys remember back in the 90s, did have a very short rap career, decided to put out another single. And this single is it's called Big Simpin. Who would have thought? And it's kind of embarrassing to see him kind of like fall from how I viewed him when I was younger, because I looked up to him. Now I kind of look down to him. I look equal to him, like both two successful men, but I can't look up to him in the same way. Whereas the image that was portrayed of everything I knew about him younger was, gosh, like the dude was everything. The dude was everything. He was an absolute rock star. And just everything that's unfolded in the past few years has absolutely changed that. And this is no excuse to it. And we're going to be talking very deeply about this. I think it permeates into such a poor message for culture. And I don't quite understand what angle is really trying to be approached here. But you know what? I'm going to stop rambling here. Let me bring on my good friend, Kevin. How we doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. You know me, can't have a bad day. Dealing with some bad weather here on the East Coast, but doing fine. Glad you brought this up to me. Last week I did a solo show, just myself, talking about Gold Pill, which is something that I really liked and something I'm going to elaborate. But you brought this up, and I got to be honest with you, man. I stream my own music, man. I've been Pandora for the last 10, 12 years, and people look down on me because I'm not on Spotify. But once you find one that you like, you stick with it. And you brought this song that I didn't even know Will Smith was trying to get back into music or whatever, and he brought this single up. I like the Pretty Girls, or I think that's the name of it. I like Pretty Girls.
I like the Pretty Girls.
And I guess the dude is stuck in the late 90s when Getting Jiggy With It or the Men in Black was actually somewhat relevant. But to see the path that he's went down for the last, since the Oscars and even before that, the whole BS with, him going up and attempting to hurt Chris Rock. Even before that, crying on interviews, his wife openly admitting with him sitting next to her in an interview that she has sex with other people. I almost dropped the F-bomb. That their marriage is open and that she doesn't care. And to be a powerhouse, like you talked about, Will Smith was a powerhouse. One of my all-time favorite movies, not I, Robot, even though that's a great movie, was The Legend of Bagger Vance. you know, where he played the caddy to Matt Damon. And it's just a great movie. And he had a long run where he was royalty in Hollywood. And I think when everything came out with his relationship with Jada and the fact that she did not respect him as a man and openly and overtly cheated on him. And, you know, I think they have, I know they have one child. I think they may have more. Jaden had a somewhat career as a child, as an actor, but now he's basically just a rich kid that's got some very weird tendencies. And, you know, I don't mean to just down the guy, but he is fucking weird. The stuff that he pulls out, he's not destined to be a masculine man. And that's fine. That's, you know, not down on the guy, but I have to say that I think that it's the dynamics that he grew up with of seeing his father and his mother, the tumultuous relationship that they have and that they portray was not a good example that was set. And it's only getting worse because when you brought this song up that Will Smith, I guess he's trying to get back into music, which is great. But then I watched this video and I can only think, WTF, what the hell, you know? But then it started making some wheels turn in my head that I look at a lot of modern music nowadays, especially when it's coming from men, and it's all, well, not all, but mostly simp type lyrics. You know, if you look at this one, I mean, the song is stupid as fuck. And the video is even worse because he has by far mid to fours.
And he's a little boy. He's a little boy during the entire, or at least for the first half.
You know, you got the basically male lesbian on the right in the relationship, and then you got none of these chicks. He likes pretty girls, and yeah, okay, maybe they're pretty to some people, but even Pitbull, when he had his simp songs like I Want You, at least he was throwing 9s and 10s in there, and then still talking about it's just I'm just trying to get laid. This was nothing but I like pretty girls. You don't have to work for anything. I'm going to do it all for you. But these are mid chicks. I mean, and then if you watch the end of that video, oh my God, it's probably one of the worst attempts at a comeback, especially by a 56-year-old that was relevant in the early 90s with music, trying to come back. And I think that he is attempting to reclaim some kind of relevance in the industry, the entertainment industry, after what happened at the Oscars. And it wasn't the best way to come about it. You know, he never went out and apologized. He never went out and said, I was in the wrong. He never went out and said, I was doing it because he offended my wife, because he didn't. He was making a fucking joke. That's what Chris Rock does. And so now that all the backlash he comes out with, and then he tries to reestablish himself with something like this, him, the little guy, being the simp for all these mid chicks that you can have whatever you want. I'll make it happen. And it's unfortunately, it's just the icing on the cake of what's been happening with the music industry when it becomes from a man's point of view. You know, I mentioned Bruno Mars earlier.
Right.
By far one of the best entertainers. He did a halftime show. It's been several years. I looked at that guy. I was like, man, that's a shorter James Brown, you know. But then he puts out song. I think the last one he did was When I Was Your Man. And all it talks about is my ego got in the way. My pride got in the way. I didn't give you enough. I should have given you more hours. I should have bought you more flowers. I should have taken you out dancing. And that's what you see coming from men in the music industry now. And that's really all you see. You don't see anything about how I'm going to make us a power couple. You don't see how I'm going to give us the best life. You don't see that. It's always about the girl and putting her on the pedestal, which has been proven to be the worst thing a man can do, because she instantly loses respect. So
yeah, and it's not even necessarily like apparent right away, but it is it's a subtle thing that does occur. And now one of the things I find interesting is that when it comes to showing emotion and things like that, and that's one of the things that like I like to teach guys, especially when we talk about dating and relationships, especially these long-term relationships, is that I really like to ensure that they understand that yes, expressing emotion is okay. It's just the way that you're doing it. And this expression of, or this expression here of emotion, which is what he's doing essentially, is it's meant to placate. It's meant to placate to whoever may be, whether it be Jada or whether it be other women in his life. It's very strange. It doesn't align. So yeah, it's not that all this stuff is necessarily terrible. It's just if you have the right lens to look at it. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, Kevin, this song is gonna be a fucking banger when it comes to the club scene. And they're gonna use sections of it and throw it in there and remix it. And I cannot wait for those things to come out. And then they're gonna remix it again, and then they're gonna use AI, and then they're gonna use it for some type of meme compilation of all the mistakes of his career, and it's gonna be great. I cannot wait for that. But you did say something about lyrics, because we're talking about the song, and of course, all right, yeah, copyright. Everybody loves to just crap on everything. You got to pay to just listen to something, and you can't even stream it unless everybody's paying for it. So we can't play it, but we can walk through the lyrics, and I think that would be a lot of fun to do right now.
yeah.
And Kevin, do you want to beat your chest a little bit and go ahead and do your best Will Smith rapping?
Oh man, no, I'm not a rapper, but here's the thing: you ain't got to wait in line tonight. You too fine for the line tonight. 5 + 5, you're a dime tonight.
See, it's all about the fives. He just had a bunch of five. He had 4 2.5s in that video.
Yeah.
He hangs out with tens.
But I mean, it's the thing, like it says here, ain't too women ain't pretty to me, which means you're all beautiful. Doesn't matter your size, shape, hair, whatever. You're a pretty girl. And you know what? I agree with you when he says that it's going to be in the big club, because there's that one part that says, all the pretty girls, put your drinks up. Every girl.
Where's that? No, let's go through it. Let's go through it like this, because I feel like we're jumping around. I'm gonna hit all the spots. I'm gonna take it from here. So that after that 5 + 5, you would dime tonight. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean, but it sounds like it's just hanging out with uglier girls. But as long as there's more girls and they're uglier, they all add up to more attractive girls. I don't really know what's going on.
Could be. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a full house. Better play your cards right. I'm a poster pick if you pose. What?
Yeah.
Make one phone call, you and Vogue. Like I'm your connection point. I'll get you anything in the world.
Sounds like some Diddy shit right there, man.
Exactly. Again, dude, there's no section. There's no section of this entire thing that isn't weird and doesn't seem like completely curated by either a terrible PR team or the weirds in Hollywood. But regardless, hold up, wait, pose. I'm about to do some investing.
Yeah.
I spend it on you and your bestie. That's not investing.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm about to spend all my money on you and your friend. Dude, what are we talking about? Right?
Yeah, you're twin on jet. Maybe it's, I watched the video once, man, and I couldn't stop laughing. Just because it was, but I'll change your life if you let me. We see where that got him with his current relationship. It'd be different if Will Smith was doing what Will Smith could have done, 15, 20 years ago, when Jada started the fucking bullshit that she's still pulling these days, and went out and been a baller. you know, but then, you know, I like pretty girls. I love pretty girls, girls, blah, 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 blah. You know, all the party girls, put your drink up. If you get, I get you anything you think of. I like BBLs, but that's not Brazilian butt lifts. No, that apparently is bad bitches link up, whatever the fuck that means.
What that essentially sounds like to me is get all the girls together because I'm going to pay for all of them, which
Yeah,
is even more ridiculous.
Yeah, all you bad bitches get together. I got you tonight, you know, type shit. You know, popping in the club all night in the section, which, you know, he hasn't done in 20 fucking years because he's been wrapped around his wife's finger as a little simp. You know, picture perfect. I swear you perfection. I like you, blah, blah, blah. It don't matter your complexion. I don't know what they means by that, you know, and in the video.
Well, it's just the skin tone.
I think it was like, yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Asian, yeah.
Yeah.
And then all sizes and shapes. You know, but and it goes out after the chorus there. It talks about vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, lemon. All right, fuck it. Guys, gotta let you know, man, giving a little bit of props to Will Smith, because apparently now he does have to cuss in his raps to sell records. So Eminem might be eating his words right now from 20 years ago.
That was his rule, though, right? Wasn't that Will Smith's rule that he was never going to curse in any of his music ever?
But now he's dropping the F-bomb. You know, but I mean, dead ass truth. I mean, we can go through the rest of it, but I think the main picture here is what we were talking about in pre-show. Is that, you know, he's trying to make a comeback. Now, Will Smith, dude, is very successful. He's probably at one time one of the top paid actors in Hollywood, and good on him for that. He made some great movies. He did some great things, and he did have a slip up at the Oscars a few years back, and it didn't work out for him in the best way. And we saw that, and most of us already knew that he was basically being treated like a beta male simp from his wife before that, because the interview that I mentioned earlier where he's crying, she's talking about that our relationship is open on her end, not his. And if you subscribe to the red pill, it's usually quite the opposite. Now, I don't agree with either of them, of on the open on one side, not open on the other. But she basically emasculated him to the world in that interview. And then the Oscars happened, which even further ruined his credibility as far as being a masculine man. And now he does something like this, which brought me to think about all the modern music that you hear now from men. It's always, you know, treat your girl the best, give her everything she wants. She can do no wrong. That's the way it goes. But then if you flip the script and you listen to, you know, Taylor Swift, Cardi B, Stallion, all those ones, I mean, it's all like the opposite. You know, I don't need you. I can do without you. I'm the best thing that could ever happen to you. And if you don't respect that, and if you don't give me this, you don't give me that, then you can be replaced, which is true. However, when you're a man trying to do what men do and be emasculate and be the person that you were brought up to be, then it makes it changes the playing field in a way that is not set up as natural progression for men and women. And that's where I start to have a problem. And I'm so glad that I don't listen to modern music and subscribe to the new dynamics, because I think that the way that it was set up, you know, men be the provider, be the protector, be the leader in the relationship, and the woman to be agreeable, to be peaceful, to bring the nurturing aspect to the relationship. If you use these dynamics that are coming up, especially from a juggernaut like Will Smith trying to get back into the music industry, but bringing it out like this, dude, it sets everybody up for failure, men and women.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Sorry, I'm just got an email about some. Yeah, that's a
No,
whole side.
it's okay.
That's a
I
whole
mean,
side topic. That's a whole side topic. But you're absolutely right, and that's what's like so interesting. Like I'm even thinking about my relationship with my girl. Like even just like last night. Like um, I've had a really stressful past week and a half. It was just a combination of a lot of different things. I know you knew I was up in Canada last week.
yeah.
And there were certain things that went on, and certain health issues I was having. Then on top of that, a lot of other business things that were going on, and so there were a lot of juggling balls. And my temper's been short. One of the things that's so beautiful about the fact that I am a more aggressive and dominant personality, and one that is in check. Let's be very frank with that, because that's very important. Because a dominant aggressive personality that's completely emotionally unchecked is a mess. But um, even so, I can tilt farther into some of that more like a quick temper or something like that.
Mhm.
And my girl does such a brilliant, beautiful job of being able to calm everything back down and helping us meet in the middle. Because it's that perfect yin and yang of those energies. And you can see in this relationship with Will and Jada's actually the masculine. So he's constantly trying to he's trying to just make her happy, but he's also trying to like somehow match the masculine. And she has shoved that masculine, whatever it was that he had, so far down that now anytime that it truly even comes up, it gets squashed again. I,
Yeah.
I can't believe that his team thought that this was a good idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, anybody that works for Will Smith, they're yes people. They're not gonna dispute anything that he comes up with. But she's taken it so far away from him that he can't ever get it back.
Yeah,
And that sucks. Because he's been ever since the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He has been a very prominent person in Hollywood. And I'm not saying it's all her fault because he allowed it to happen. But that's where, when we talk about frame, especially in our
mhm,
space, is once you lose it, bro, you're not going to get it back. Not with that person. So me and Paul, your good friend, we were talking
yeah,
about it on a sidebar, no show, no anything, just talking about it. It's like, well, when you learn a lesson in a relationship, that you don't try to get that woman back to apply the lesson you learned to that one. You take that lesson and you apply it to your next relationship and the
mhm,
next person that you're with. And so you don't make that same mistake twice. But once you make that mistake, like Will has, with what a lot of people have, I mean, I've done it. You've probably done it in past relationships. Even when the girl comes back, it's never the same. And you honestly can't get that aspect back. So you can learn from that, and you can apply it to your next relationship, which was what I think that, Will Smith should have done a long time ago
right.
when she brought it up to him that I'm going to cheat on you and there's nothing you can do about it. And the fact that he stayed being as successful, as high end he was, why he didn't do that, I will never understand.
Dude, I thought it was so funny when I was talking to a girl about this earlier when I was sharing with her this song for the first time, and then what the show topic was going to be. I had said to her, "It's like, okay, so like imagine, we're going to be having kids soon, and let's say like 15, 20 years from now, you end up sleeping with one of our son's friends, and I stay with you. Like, what would you think?" And she like stopped for a second and then like kind of looked at me and she just like laughed. She's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? It doesn't make sense." And
Mm.
that's what it's so incredibly obvious to the world except for him. And I don't understand how you could live such an embarrassing life. And it's okay. I understand that. Like, granted, he's 56. Yeah, we're towards the end of certain things. I mean, hell, I was looking at something the other day. I don't know if you've seen Maury Povich has a podcast now. It's very very small still, I believe. But he had his wife on, and I had no idea that they kind of had the same type of relationship. But they treat each other like you would treat the boys, and you check each other. And so even though she was slutting around, he called it out. He called it out, like the whole, like, he still has the frame because they stay married for a business decision. There's no way that this is for a business decision, because like it's not okay. I don't understand how somebody would willingly publicly be disgraced unless they like to be demeaned that way, which doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I've heard of, some CEOs go to dominatrix just to get their balls stepped on. And, that's
Wait, you don't?
No,
Oh,
absolutely not. I've not made it to that level yet, apparently. But, like with Maury Povich, Connie Chung, I mean, who knows what happens? Every relationship have ebb and flow. But, the fact that, Red Pill, which is kind of where we got started, we've evolved from that. We've graduated, as I like to say it. It comes from the man being the masculine, the woman being the feminine, and how it works. And it has for thousands of years in that dynamic. That's probably the best way to stick with it when it comes to it. But we're living a time now where, women, if you want to be successful, that's great. Awesome. My ex-wife, she made a good living. We both worked. We didn't have kids. That's awesome. But the fact, when you try to just equalize the roles, that's when it starts to get distorted. And that's when corruption and basically disillusion starts to play, because at the end of the day, as male and female, there is certain DNA traits that we are born with that you want. So when you distort those things, and then it comes back to where you want the reality of the man being the masculine, the provider, protector, the woman being the caretaker, the nurturer. And if you fuck that up along the way, you can't get it back. And that's where, especially when it comes to Will and Jada, that it's been so diluted for so long with their relationship and with the things, how it's transpired, with the Chris Rock thing. And then, the interview where he's crying, she's smiling, boasting that she cheats on him, and that's fine with her. And he, obviously it affects him, which it should, but then he stays with her. And then the Oscar things happen with Chris Rock, and then he tries to make a comeback. Instead of making a comeback as Hollywood royalty that he is, doing something like this with this fucking stupid song and this stupid ass video, especially at the end where he's still simping for the therapist that he's looking at. It shows that some men do not understand of how it is to get your frame back. And he's went the complete opposite way than it should have went to get his frame back. Because I mean, I get it. Jada, she's successful in her own right. I think the last movie that I ever saw her in was one with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx, maybe 15, 20 years ago, called Collateral or something like that. That's the last thing that I've ever seen her do as far as her being a career actress or whatever you want to call it. But for him to still kowtow to her and then now make a song about, I just like pretty girls and whatever you want, I've got you and your bestie, I'm going to give it to you, doesn't make sense to me on where he thinks that's going to reinvigorate his career. Because he's had a great career. He's very successful. He's not going to run out of money. But he's probably better off just retiring and not doing anything instead of trying to pull the stunt that he did with this bullshit, stupid song.
I think what it is, to be honest, he has that little boy energy. And so he's too chaotic in his mind, and he needs somebody to help direct him in the direction of that energy. So I think that's why it may work, but I don't think he understands like how like this is fucked with him. Like clearly, like for him to even be able to do the Oscars, like it's beyond me. And for him not to get blacklisted by Hollywood afterwards is beyond me.
Well, I think in a sense he did get blacklisted, especially from amongst his peers, because it wasn't a good look. I mean, the dude played Muhammad Ali in a movie where he buffed up, and I could see in the movie the dude could throw some hands, So for him to lose that aspect and have the opportunity for a guy like Chris Rock, wasn't expecting anything. He should have been able to put him on his ass, but he bitch slapped him. And, they made it look like a big thing, but he really hit his microphone that was on his lapel, which made it look worse, And I'm not saying that I would have rather seen Chris Rock get knocked out. I think Will Smith was completely in the wrong in that whole thing. But to see how that all transpired, and at the end of the day, obviously he did get blacklisted from his peers, because look what he's trying to do to become relevant right now, as trying to get back in the music industry. I mean, come on, dude. Getting jiggy with it was what, 99? And I think that was probably the last relevant music thing you had. So I think at the end of the day, he has been blacklisted and has been shunned by the peers in Hollywood. But at the end of the day, too, I don't look at any of those guys or the actors or any people in that industry as people that any of us as men should look up to. Yeah, they entertain us with great movies. They entertain us with TV shows and songs at certain times. But at the end of the day, that's a bubble that they live in. And Josh, I wish he was here. He lives in that bubble in LA. I wish he knows that life. But that's what they are. They're entertainers. And so for them to try to come out now and be relevant in our lives, my life, your life, Josh's life, any of our members' lives, that's irrelevant, because that's what they do. They entertain, right? Mm-hmm. So I do think in a lot of ways he did get blacklisted, and that he's at the end of his career. But all the hundreds of millions of dollars he's made, he's not going to run out of money. He's not going to, it's not like he's going to end up,
but he's not going to die happy. And what's the biggest thing? Like when I think of like being a father,
I don't think any of them do. And that's what's.
But what I'm saying, stop for a second, Kevin. Sorry. What I'm saying with that is that the worst thing that you can do as a man is to die feeling like you never accomplished what you actually wanted to accomplish. And he was there. He had it all. And then he allowed his entire reputation and his entire history to become tarnished over a woman.
Yeah, and that's what he's going to be remembered for, is that stunt that he pulled at the Oscars. Trying to stand up for his wife. That's what you call her. Roommate.
Yeah, whatever you want to call her,
a roommate. Because when she openly says in an interview, I cheat on him, and I do it shamelessly and unapologetically, and then he does that because Chris Rock made a simple, harmless joke, and did that with no repercussions at the Oscars. Dave Chappelle had a great.
Dude, I thought it was a funny joke too. Like, let's be honest, G.I. Jane, because you have to, dude. And why the hell would you get pissed off about that when, like, look at some of the riots that we've had recently, and the protesters. They also got shaved heads. You got women with shaved heads. Like, what? G.I. Jane out here being a tough woman. Like, what? What blew his gasket? And if you paid attention to like the entire little things that were going on between them, she definitely hit him.
Yeah, she gave him a look.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently it's from a sickness, and I don't know what's it called, but
alopecia.
But I mean, honestly, too, like, it's a couple as weird as them. You could think maybe she was just shaving her head just to shave her head. She's still a pretty chick, but at the end of the day, if Chris Rock didn't know that she had an illness that didn't allow her hair to grow, and he made that joke, then she did give him a look, and that's when he got up and did what he did. The little, I'm going to try to hurt you, buddy. And then got back in his seat and said, "Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth." Blah blah blah. Made a big scene, but I like the way Dave Chappelle put it. He was like, it wasn't about the slap. It was the fact that Will Smith got to enjoy the rest of his evening without any repercussions, because like every that happened, but he didn't get walked out by police. He didn't get charged with assault, which it was, that kind of stuff. And that's where you see the fake in Hollywood when they talk about, especially, you got Clooney and all these guys that talk about all these different subjects that they're so adamant about being advocates for, but they see that blatant assault. But no, he gets to sit there and, you saw the grin on her face as he's walking back to after he slapped Chris Rock. You saw the grin on his face.
He thought he was the fucking man, dude. He thought he was the man.
Oh, he stood up for me, and then nothing happened. Of course, there was repercussions, and you see basically the end of an illustrious career that Will Smith had. Mm-hmm. But that just shows you the power that a woman can have over a man. A man like Will Smith, I would never thought would be such a simp to one female that does all these bad things. I mean, I get it. You got kids together, y'all built a great life together, blah, 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 but you just let her walk all over you like that. I mean, having frame is one thing, but being trampled on by one woman is another. And that's where I find the disconnect, that you would think Will Smith would never let something like that happen to him as Will Smith.
Yeah, and that's what I think is so interesting about this, because I know exactly what they were thinking when they did this artistically. What they were doing is, there are too many beautiful women in this world, and that's why there's a lot of different shades here. Although, if you notice, I don't really see a white girl. Interesting. All right, moving on. Because I'm pretty sure it's like Asian, and then it's all a couple different little mixed races. But regardless, sorry to my Irish people. There's no Irish people here.
Yeah, you got the masculine chick with the big tie with the suit, and then on the right you've got basically the masculine female, and then you've got the two in the middle, which present a little bit of femininity. But
but what I'm saying with this is, it's essentially being this is his reality is all girls are beautiful, gotta serve all girls. That's the message. So like, if you've ever seen the movie They Live, I think I mentioned it in the group not too long ago, and we talk about it a lot, where the guy puts on glasses and then all of a sudden sees the world for what it actually is and all the propaganda going on. This is propaganda. What this is saying is serve women, serve women, serve women. And it's done to a pretty good beat. Not going to lie. I totally want to slap it into some of my songs that I create. So it's like, I get it, but the messaging is so off, and it's not good. And so it's like, it's weird once you wake up. It's like, I don't need glasses to see it anymore, or I don't know, different hearing aids to hear it, but it's obvious.
No, I mean, it is obvious, but it correlates to a lot of the points, our good friends in Miami like to make, like if women have, standards, that's okay. But if men have standards, it's controlling.
Yeah. How dare you?
Bad,
what's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. Why? Okay. I'm supposed to be in shape. I'm supposed to make a certain amount of money. I'm supposed to be a certain height and tallness. I'm supposed to be all this, but if I want something else in a woman that's even remotely similar to the same types of standards that they have, I'm controlling. But when they have it, no, that's all your right. You go, girl. You need to have high standards. But if guys have standards, then that's controlling. That's wrong, because all women are beautiful, because beauty comes within. And reminds me of that movie Liar Liar, when Jim Carrey said it best, when the little kid says, well, my teacher says beauty comes within. He's like, that's just something ugly people say. And he's fucking true. And back in the 90s, you could say something like that. Try to say it now, and oh my God, you're the worst person in the world. But I mean, that's what it all boils down to. And like in the song lyrics that we saw, that I don't see very many unpretty girls, you know, because you're all pretty and you're all good and you're always supposed to be put on this high pedestal. But as soon as I want to be the man in the relationship, then I'm wrong for it.
Yeah, I don't see a song about handsome boys.
No.
What's that about? Where's my handsome boy song? I want a handsome boy song. Come on, Kevin.
Yeah, we're good. I mean, maybe AI is a big thing right now. Maybe I can conjure one up. But, you know, it's like we were talking about earlier. I mean, you look at modern music and even some of the most top performers, best entertainers, that it's all catering to women. I should have done this. I should be better in that. And I should give you this and I should give you that. But then when you look at modern women music, it's all about, you know, when you kiss him, you're going to taste me. You know, I don't need no man. I'm better off without you. I hope you fail at everything you do in life, you know, and that's what you get from the women's side of music and their huge hits, especially from, you know, Miss Swift. But you don't get that from men. And if you do get that from men, it's not going to go very far, you know, unless it's an underground mixtape. But I mean, that's just the world that we're living in right now. And we started off with the Will Smithing because it was a great way to kick off something like this, that big simping. You know, we talk about simps, and you know, it's where you see it with socials now. You know, you see a 4 or a 5 on Instagram. If you go through her DMs, she gets DMs every day of these guys. You're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. Blah blah blah. Just please respond to me. That's why OnlyFans is such a popular thing, because it's almost like a strip club on the computer, because you can pay $5 a month, you can pay $10 a month, and you'll get a response. And unfortunately for you guys that are doing this type of shit, it's probably her real boyfriend, and it's probably her pimp, if you want to talk about it, like Jack Doherty. That's how he made his money, by responding to these texts. But it's so sad to see so many guys out there that are just so thirsty that they're sending DMs like this to people that they've never met, to women that they've never seen in real life, women that they only see a couple of pictures on, and you're DMing them like they're the best thing that a man could ever have, when you don't even know this person. And so the simps definitely outweigh the guys that live in the real world nowadays, unfortunately. And I social media is a lot to blame for that, but it's also the unwillingness to try in real life, because all you want is that DM back, thinking that you get a response from the person that you're seeing on there. And that's what's very, very sad for men these days. That basically, if you've ever sent, I'm going to say this right now, and I hope anybody that sees this, especially males, take this to heart. If you've ever seen or DM'd somebody on Instagram, a chick that you've never met, anything other than, hey, what's your number? I want to talk with you. You are a fucking simp. That is simping. Don't do that shit. Learn how to do it in real life.
Well, what do you mean by that? I want to actually dive into that a little bit. Like
What
sending
do I mean
one.
by that?
Yeah, like what's sending one?
Well, because I mean, I can open Instagram right now, and then I'll get all these suggestions. You know, a lot of them, you know, friends of other friends. And then,
oh, dude, have you been getting the AI generated triple boob girls? I've been getting a ton of AI generated triple boob girls. I'm loving it.
Unfortunately, I haven't gotten that one yet. But no, I mean, you see all your suggestions. You know, sometimes it's friends of friends, but then just suggestion for you. And sometimes it's a chick in a bikini or something like that. But I mean, some guys actually go on Instagram and just search for, you know, just random stuff. And then you'll see a chick that's got an Instagram page and she looks good. So you DM her. Hey, how you doing? You're so beautiful. I would love to talk with you. That's simping, dude. I mean, that's simping 101. You've never met this chick. You've only seen a picture. You don't know if she really exists in real life. She might be a guy in his mom's basement that weighs 300 pounds, but you start off with, hey, I saw your picture.
But hold on. He may be fat enough to have 3 boobs, and so then it is the 3 boob person.
Yeah, maybe he is. But
no, I'm just giving it around. But you're right. I agree with you.
Any guy that does something like that you see a picture online, and so your first line is "You're so beautiful," blah blah. That's fucking simping 101.
Yeah.
Don't even start off. I mean, if you start off like that, you've already put the pedestal on that fat dude with 3 tits in his mom's basement. And so he's going to come back with, well, hey, I thank you so much. What's your name? What do you like about me? You know, I mean, but what I'm saying is that's, you know, like we said in the title of the show, Big Simpin. That's where guys fuck up. You know, you start off with, hey, gorgeous, how are you? You've never even met this person.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Let's hone it into that, because that's what it is. It's that pedestal. So with this, and even the expression, this is exactly what is being portrayed. This is what is being pushed into media, is Will Smith representing himself, who we've all recognized as one of the best of our generation, as way lesser than mids across the board. What are we doing here? Pay attention to what is being pushed out to you and have that better lens, because you are worth it and you can be something, and don't settle for less. Will Smith, unfortunately, has settled for less. And like, quite honestly, dude, when they like to play that crazy conspiracy stuff about like people being replaced by clones, if that was real, I would bet you my entire life savings that Will Smith is one of those who has been replaced, because this guy is not the person I knew. And the fact that he would subject himself this way, like imagine Tom Brady finishing his career. Giselle did all that crap as she did. She did almost the same thing, and immediately was like with somebody else and was kind of embarrassing him, but he just kept being.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's doing just fine. He still has many media deals. He's got tons of great friends. Nobody hates him. He's like an unhateable guy. So how come? Let me ask you, how come Tom Brady thrived after that divorce, whereas Will Smith is suffering through this entanglement?
And still married. Well, one thing where Tom was right is Giselle wasn't his first wife, so he had a prenup in place. And he saw the writings on the wall, so he prepared himself by putting all his assets in his mom's name, which she could have taken him to court and got. But here's the thing. He's Tom fucking Brady. Just like I could be saying he's Will fucking Smith. He doesn't care about Jada. He move on. He can get 5 more. No, Will went a different path where Tom Brady went his own way because he knew he was going to be fine. You know, even my dad, we were having a conversation with it, you know, about the Tom and Giselle thing. And he was like, man, you know, Giselle left him. And I was like, dude, he's Tom Brady. You think he's hurting to have other women in his life? He's certainly not hurting for money. Yeah, she's good looking.
And that's the thing. It's not important to him anymore. He's
been
there, done that. Like, life is more important than that. And this girl is like still stuck in whatever phase of like, I'm never going to be the 30, 35-year-old, I'm never going to be the 30-year-old quarterback again. So like, we got to move on in life. And she's like, I don't want to move on in life.
Yeah,
and that's
did you notice when it came to Giselle? No, she started dating that Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
In Costa Rica. Oh, everything was hunky-dory until he started dating someone else. And then she came out of the woodwork then. Then she got mad because he moved on, which is, you know, one of our most successful shorts is 50% of women have a backup plan before they initiate divorce. She had a backup plan before she initiated divorce. She initiated divorce. They got divorced. He didn't fight her. She got nothing. Well, she's Giselle, so she had her own money. He got went their separate ways. As soon as he started dating someone else, Who came out to say, oh, that's wrong? She did. And Will could have played it the same way because they both had their own. As soon as she came to him and was like, I'm sleeping with my son's friend, instead of crying about it in an interview and saying, we're going to work this out, he should have said,
you got to put your fucking foot down. That's called frame. You put your fucking foot down right there. That is called frame. I don't care if you have an open relationship and like, yo, this is like dead ass to everybody right now. I don't care if you have a goddamn fucking open relationship with your girl. If it's a long-term marriage, anything, trust me, I've talked to people from all ages. Do not fucking allow something like this. And it's such an embarrassment. It destroyed his career forever. I know that nobody, and we were talking about blacklisting and whatnot, I know that nobody respects him anymore in that space. You don't do shit like this, and you do not allow your woman to respect you this way. And in the same way, conversely, women do not allow your man to disrespect you this way. There are, if you want to do certain things, upside down pineapple, swinging around, you have to have the rules in place beforehand. Because this definitely was outside of the rules. And it wasn't until after the fact that Will then said, oh, I don't like that. But then he allowed it to be somehow his fault because he didn't say it, but he didn't know. Like, again, it's the gaslighting and the circling that Jada had done to his head.
Yeah, and you brought up a great point, man. That goes both ways, not just men. You know, if your woman steps outside and it's not okay, you don't allow her back. Same way with women, man. If your man steps outside and it's not okay, you don't let him back. You learn that lesson and you move on. There's no trying to get the past back after a betrayal like that happens. And I know that firsthand. You know, I mean, you can't do it, and because it'll never be the same. You know, you can try the best you can to make things right, but if you have a moral or a logical line that, you know, cheating, anything that steps out, if it's broken, don't try to forgive it and don't try to bring it back, because things will never be the same. You know, and that happened to Will, you know, thinking that, okay, we can go on an interview, I can cry about it, you can express it, and then once it's all out there, then everything can go back to normal. And I don't know about their personal lives. I don't want to know about their personal lives. But obviously it was something that wasn't okay with him, but he let it be okay, tried to move on. They're still together. He let something like the Chris Rock incident happen at the Oscars, and then now his reputation is not only tarnished, he's putting out stupid fucking videos like he did with this wannabe comeback in music career that only makes him look much more worse to the public that once looked up to him.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, it's a lot.
We probably got to wrap, man. We've been going for an hour, man. But it's something that we can talk about. It was a good Kickstarter to talk about what we've talked about. But, you know, frame is probably something we need to bring up. It's brought up a lot. It's a dead horse that's been kicked a lot in the space. But it's something that it gets misconstrued when it comes to frame as a man, because if you're a total subscriber to the red pill, you think frame is you do it my way or that's it. You don't deviate from the way I do things. And that's not really what frame means. That frame doesn't mean that you can't make changes throughout a relationship or even with yourself, but frame is the way that you set the dynamics up that is beneficial for the man and the female in the relationship. And
frame is stepping in and enforcing those boundaries that are set.
Yes, of course. And then even talking about them before you have to enforce them. You know, you don't do it on the first date. You don't even do it in the first month. But when you decide to be exclusive, that's when frame, boundaries, expectations need to be discussed before you move further. And if she's not willing to discuss it on a serious level, or vice versa, if he's not willing to discuss it on a serious level, then you're probably not ready to make that next step to be exclusive.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's many things. It was tough with my significant other. Very, very long time aggressive, struggling meth addict, and so I had to maintain some frame there, and I had to ensure, dude. I I can't tell if you know I'm kidding or not. You're just stone faced, like no, I'm good. But that's the same
Oh, no,
type of
I
thing.
was, I was gonna call you, and you and Holland were gonna have a good
Don't say
counseling
her
session
name.
about
Don't
that.
say her name.
So, but no, I mean, and that's serious, and that's what we talk about on a serious, but
Right.
behind YouTube, we don't talk about it
Mhm.
as members of Men of Now. We talk about this kind of stuff, but we talk about it on such a peer level that we all come to an agreement. That's what I love about the group that we have. So if
Yeah.
you're seeing this, of course, like, subscribe. But if you're interested in, becoming a part of more of a fraternity than just a group, then that's what we have at Men of Now, because we're all walks of life, all different stages of life, all different ages, all different sizes. I'm the small one, which is cool.
You're
You
not
know,
that small, man.
check us out at menofnow.us. You can schedule an appointment to talk with one of us to see if it's right for you. It's not something that we just say, hey, everybody's welcome. We want to make sure that you can add just as much as you take. So I would love to get your feedback. So if there's something on this topic or something else you want to hear, leave a comment down below and we'll discuss it. And then we can always have members and people viewing that want to join the show and ask questions. We love that.
Absolutely. And this is the final thing I'll leave you guys with. This is the type of stuff that gets pushed out to media. We got Will Smith out here essentially covertly expressing simping. That's not good for society, and it's not good for the men of the generation. These types of messages are very hurtful, and a lot of times we do not see the deepness of that message until maybe a decade down the line, but it's there. We're already seeing some of it today in the frustration that people are having and everything else with some of the younger guys. So like if you even need help with just that, I mean, you can reach out to me for any type of specific dating coaching, or if you want to be more part of a brotherhood where you're going to have more than just my opinion, that's what Men of Now is great for. And it's great for so many different things. I mean, heck, man, like we are killing it in the crypto and reading the markets right now. It's so much fun and like just interpreting the world in the right lens. It's been very exciting. So with this, just make sure to pay attention. Make sure to pay attention to what's being put out there and why. I would recommend again that everybody give They Live. I believe it's a movie from the 1980s. I feel like it's 88, but it could be wrong. It could be 85, or it could be another random year. I don't know. I wasn't born then. I'm still kind of young, I guess. I don't know. But it is a fantastic look and a fantastic metaphor to when you actually see the propaganda going on. Because what this is propaganda, and it's an embarrassment of a man I really looked up to. But until next time, guys, definitely like, comment, subscribe. Let us know topics you want us to talk about. We got some things in the pipeline. And before I go, and before you go, I guess, too, since we're both here together, even though on opposite sides of the country, we're going to have another Thrive in 25 soon, aren't we?
Yes.
And we're going to be having somebody, I think we're going to be having somebody on. I need to confirm with him, but I think we're looking to have somebody on who helps with exactly this, where you're already married and you need to regain frame, where it's difficult to do so. I don't think it's impossible. Like as you said, when it's like a breakup and then come back together, I think that is impossible. But this is prior to breakup. This is when you're on the verge of divorce, how to regain frame. And I think that this guest would give a lot of insight into this. So stay tuned for that, guys. Keep you updated with everything. But until next time, peace out. Have a good one.